A few videos ago, I mentioned that there was a CD on my shelf over here, and it's right here. So this is Bvdlvd'S new album. New, I mean, it came out months ago, but newest album currently. Yeah, on the back it says 2026, so it was from this year actually. But I actually got this CD months ago, and I've been meaning to open it, and I haven't for some reason. Before I open this, I want to tell a little bit of a story. So one day, I was just listening to SoundCloud, somebody else's song. I don't remember what I was listening to, but with SoundCloud, it autoplays to a random song that the algorithm thinks that you'll like, right? After the song I was listening to, it played a random song after that. And one of the songs was called Snow Globe. And I was listening to it, and I was like, whoa, this is a really good song. And I kept listening to it, and I'm like, hold on, who is this? I have no idea, right? The song ended, I'm like, wow, I am really impressed. It was Bvdlvd. Now, if you know anything about Bvdlvd, it confused me because whenever I think of Bvdlvd, I think of like punk music, experimental punk kind of vibe. Very loud, very abrasive and distorted stuff. So when I heard Snow Globe, I was like, oh, we're doing something different here, at least with this song. So Snow Globe was my introduction to this album. I don't know if you can see, but Snow Globe has like a globe as the O. I just now noticed that. That's really cool. That's a really cool detail. Yeah, and so each one of these songs has a little different thing included. That's nice. I'm just now looking at this for the first time, like in detail, like up close, and that detail is really cool. And then there's also an exclusive track, which we'll talk about later. I don't think I've heard the exclusive track yet because I first listened on SoundCloud, like I mentioned. Why did I just look up SoundCloud on SoundCloud? That's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, so on the SoundCloud version, there are 10 tracks. Here are 11. So Selfish is an exclusive track that I think is only with the CD. I forgot to mention it. This album is called Presence. So as we can see here, we got the cover, we got the hand. It's a hand on a black backdrop. It's signed in the corner, which is really cool. Nice little touch. Bad with a heart in the corner. I love that. It's hard to see from this angle, but on a closer look, we have a hand that's all bandaged up for one, and the fingers look like that they are pressed up against some form of glass, which I didn't realize that detail until recently. And then we have a little green marker band kind of thing that is a very subtle pop of color. Since I listened to Snow Globe on SoundCloud out of nowhere, I figured, oh, I haven't listened to Bvdlvd in a while, so let's listen to this album. So I listened all the way through, and the one thing that stood out to me was the mixing. The mixing of this album is incredible. I don't want to call myself a mixing snob, but even though I probably am, and that's mostly due to the fact that I'm trying to learn good mixing, like how to actually make things sound good with music production, and mixing and mastering is a huge factor of that. So when I was listening through this entire album, I was like, wow, the mixing is super impressive. The vocal mixing, the beat mixing, the instruments, like all of it to me sounded really good. And I listen to a lot of music that's super experimental. I listen to a lot of music that is more underground and not as polished. So when I heard this, I'm like, oh my goodness. This feels studio grade, which is crazy. I also don't know if Bvdlvd is with a label now, because Bvdlvd was independent, and then I think he went with a label, and then he left the label. It's kind of confusing. As far as I know, he's an independent artist, or has been most of his career, but I'm not entirely sure. He might have management, but not a label. I have to look into that to be sure. But on the music, I didn't see a label. I just saw Bvdlvd as like the copyright or whatever. So I'm pretty sure this is an independent project, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. All right, I think we can finally open this after yapping for 8 minutes. Let's see if we have anything special in here. So we open it. All right, so you got the hand as the CD as well. I think it's a copy paste, or it's similar. Oh, but that's cool. Oh, okay. I thought this was dirty. No, there's like legit fingerprints on here. Sorry about that. I was running out of storage on my camera, but we're good now. What I was going to say before it cut me off is that I thought this CD was dirty, but it's because of the smudge marks of the fingers. It's not because it's actually dirty, which is a really cool attention to detail. That got me for a second. Oh, okay. So there's words under here. Hold up. There's legit words. I don't want to break the CD. Okay, that's cool. So the back, once you remove the CD, there's a little message right there. That's cool. Hello and thank you. With love from Josh. Shout out Josh, for real. So we got the credits here for all the songs. So this was a heavily collaborative project, which is cool. All vocals and lyrics by Bad Lad, production oversight, and sonic direction led by Bad Lad. So as far as I can tell, this is an independent project, but it's also a heavily collaborative one, which is cool. I don't see any labels though. Normally with CDs, you get like a label on the back or something, which is a stamp of the label or a management company or whatever. But I don't see that with this one. It just says produced by Bad Lad and John Cass and Prop, with the copyright being Bad Lad, and then a website. So as far as I can tell, this is an independent project. Love that. We have a booklet. I was excited to see what's in this booklet. Got the booklet. So the booklet is the thing that's signed. So we have a bunch of lyrics for every single song. Oh, it's two-sided. Okay. So the first 6 songs are on this side and the 6 songs are there. And that's really it. But we get the actual lyrics. So once we go into the full album, I'm going to go over these lyrics. Because I need to re-listen to this album too. I need to give it another listen because I haven't listened to it since I listened to it on SoundCloud. But the quality on this CD is going to be a lot higher than than what was on SoundCloud for sure. So I think that's really it for the physical side of it, which is cool. But I'm definitely going to use this booklet. Whenever I get a CD, I love looking at like the physical booklet because sometimes there's secret stuff in there. Most of the time it's just lyrics. But there's even lyrics for Selfish, which is the bonus track. Emotion starts with 8-bit synthy groans. It then transitions to a snare-heavy drum. Pretty minimal production style overall. The lyrics of the song are about a starving artist in the algorithmic game where numbers influence their feelings. It's a pretty good intro to the album. This is the through line throughout the entire project. The music video is Bad Lad playing in the backyard with a bunch of dogs, which probably is the epitome of the statement "go touch grass," judging by the context of the lyrics. All these songs have visualizers, but only 2 of them have music videos. Slaza and Dirt have music videos, but the rest are lyric visualizers. The visualizers are a better representation about the vibe of the song, while the music videos are a higher quality production and show off the band. Snow Globe was the first track I listened to from the album. It's also the second song in the track list. Thirdly, I forgot to bring this up earlier, but some of the cover arts are different on SoundCloud. Snow Globe, Slaza, which sounds like a slur but I can assure you it's not, Dirt, and Feme. In these covers, a hand is counting up, from 1 to 4. The rest of the album has all 5 fingers up. This stood out to me as a creative way to market the album as well as bring consistency between the singles and the album covers. It also just looks nice when it's all together. Slaza has 1, Snow Globe has 2, Feme has 3, Dirt has 4, and the rest have 5. This would mean that I heard the second single from this album first. Regarding Snow Globe, initially the intro has a filter over it to help juxtapose the rest of the song. Drum kits seem to be the main instrument on these songs so far, since everything else sounds built around it. That is, until the guitars kick in, filling in the rest of the space. One thing that stood out to me regarding Snow Globe was the singing. In previous works, we mostly heard rap and screaming from Bad Lad, which is pretty typical when punk is your aesthetic. However, most of this project actually has a lot of singing vocals instead. Snow Globe is relatively short lyrically. The artist's mantra is still here, except this time he compares himself to a sniper. When we look at the music video, he is thinking on a balcony. The snow globe in question could be symbolic of his brain, imagining things that don't exist. It would explain why the visualizer just shows a silhouette rather than a sniper scoping a target. Suffice to say, the song didn't click with me lyrically until I watched the visualizer. I wasn't expecting to already start theorizing about this album, but here we are. Slaza is the first single from Presence. It's a drunken bar rager which utilizes singing, rapping, chanting, and screaming. Very pop punk. Slaza's music video shows Bad Lad and his band drinking at different locations in the UK. So what does Slaza mean? This is where we can use etymology. The only sources I could find are from Urban Dictionary. While there are various different options, the context we are looking for is something to do with alcohol. Basically, it's when a person goes on a drinking binge. It's the one that's been stuck in my head. The chorus is an earworm that is easily prompted by glancing at the alcohol aisle at the grocery store. Speaking of grocery stores, Hubba Bubba goes all out and is well deserving of the UK Rage Artist title on SoundCloud. This is the kind of sound I expected from Bad Lad, but it also shows how versatile this project has been so far. Definitely the hardest song we've stumbled across on this album. This song reveals that Bad Lad used to work retail and would rather be an artist over working for a soulless corporation. It would make sense why the visualizer is shot in a grocery store. While I've never worked retail, I know friends who have, and I've heard multiple stories of how soul-crushing a work environment it can be. So, just like Bad Lad, I also have a love for art. Dirt is the fourth single. Even though this album's main tag is indie rock, this song would be the best example of that genre. Probably the chillest one out of the album's runtime. Dreamy guitars and coffee house drums. This one had a music video with some beautiful cinematography and color grading. The message of the song is about drug abuse and how one can relapse by being dependent on it. Hornet Sting is a heartbreak song. The lyrics say, "Still got the dirt from yesterday," which plays into the fact that the last song was called Dirt. It also implies that each song could be a day in the timeline of events. Visually, it's Bad Lad reminiscing on a beach. Femme is the third single. It ramps up the energy once again with a scream song. I know I said Hubba Bubba was hard, but this is the hardest one on the album so far. It's one of the more dense tracks lyrically, mostly because it's a fast rap scream song. So good thing I have this lyric booklet. There's a lot here about the destruction of environments, living in a forest, and big men. While further researching what femme means, it is a French term that a lot of people love to argue the meaning of, although the main through line I keep seeing was person who identifies as feminine. However, what also kept appearing was a British sexcapade film by the same name. I've never seen this movie. So for the sake of research, I was going to watch it, but it was only available to rent and I couldn't afford it. But I wouldn't be surprised if this movie inspired this song. I thought this until I read a plot summary on Wikipedia, and now I think these two works of art are only relevant in name and nothing else. So currently, my theory is about our natural ecosystem and how corporations have corrupted the environment. Especially because the next song is called Machine, another heavy banger. It's a callback to the numbers that the artist is obsessed with, except this time Bad Lad exclaims how he himself is just a number, a cog in the system, suffering from success. He is stuck in the machine that he himself hated. Most of the visuals point a spotlight at the systems of our world that have been in place for a long time, power lines and wind turbines. These stationary energetic beings help the machine run. Borderline is back to sad boy vibes. From the lyrics I gather it's about recovering from substances and addiction. Visually, Bad Lad is driving somewhere. Divide is the closer. Out of all these songs, this one is the most atmospheric. Echoes drench the soundscape. It switches up halfway through, combining the past and present styles. The visualizer is very interesting because it ties back to the album trailer where Bad Lad goes to an abandoned church and graveyard, mourning the loss of what was. If you listen on digital platforms, your journey is over. But if you bought the CD, there is one more track, and it's called Selfish. Only available on the CD, we get some static, a filtered panning hi-hat, trap drums, and bass guitar. Bad Lad sings on this exclusive track about a version of himself that's selfish. It is a time jump where he is old and regretful, still dealing with self-inflicted abuse of some kind, though not directly stated, but with the context of the previous songs, it's most likely drug or alcohol abuse. It's a version of himself that never learned from his mistakes, an alternate timeline of where he will be if the problem isn't fixed. A prologue of what could be, which is the perfect concept for a bonus track. Presence is about an artist who is struggling despite the success. It's a story as old as time. Just because you have success, that doesn't mean it shields you from all strife in life. It encourages people to check themselves and get help before they spiral into mental anguish by showing what not to do.